Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Firstborn podcast series. This is the second edition of the podcast. We had the first one last week. It was with Victoria Matthew. Wonderful session we had at the time. She was quite vulnerable, shared, in fact, she almost started crying on that one, which made me feel that doing this podcast was the right thing to do. My name is Onua Pelumi Or, and I'm the host of this podcast. Like I did say last week, we're going to have three ladies get interviewed on the set to hear their perspective, understand their pains, their the pressure of being a firstborn, the weight of being a firstborn, the benefit of being a firstborn, and how they've been able to navigate that path up until where they are today, and maybe the lessons they've learned over the years. And to keep to my promise, I brought another lady who is somebody that I believe has so much to say. You're going to meet her in a moment. Her name is Damilola. You can also call her Joy. You know that she is an online tutor. She helps kids get better. I've known her for quite a while, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and I've seen her help kids navigate their path towards understanding how to read better, understanding maths better, understanding science better. Even she could also teach French. In fact, before this particular podcast, she was teaching the child French. I heard that saying, Bonjour, mademoiselle. I don't know if that was what it said, but it'll tell you how good she is when it has to do with helping kids navigate their path. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on this particular podcast set, Damilola Iyanda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Mr. Palumi.
How have you been?
I've been good. Been good.
No, good.
I've been good.
Awesome. Okay, you're the first of how many kids?
Of 5 kids.
So how many boys, how many girls?
3 girls and 2 boys.
3 girls and 2 boys. So you are the first. The one after you is a girl.
No, it's a boy. It's a
Okay,
boy.
a boy, and then the one after the boy
Yeah.
is a girl,
Yes.
and then you
And then the
have
next one
girl.
is a girl again, and
Mhm.
then a boy again.
Okay, the boy is the last born.
Yes,
Nice.
yes. And
Okay,
then
so we have so much to talk about. But let's start with how has it, if you were to come back to this world, would you choose, and you were given the privilege of choosing if you want to come as the first, second, or last born, would you still choose to come as the firstborn?
I'll always choose to come as the first over and over again.
Ladies and gentlemen, because our
Of
last guest
course.
here said she would prefer to come as the last born. But tell me, it looks as though
Oh
you
my
enjoyed it.
God.
Do you enjoy being a firstborn?
Oh, it came with so much trouble, so much pain. But then I would still love to be the first child because, I mean, if you're coming, the plate is just plain. You have to set a track record for your siblings. Come on. Who wouldn't love to do that?
Ah, ah, I like this energy. Like me like me. But
Of
let's
course,
let's
I
let's
would. Of course.
okay. Let's take it back many years ago when you were born. How did your parents treat you when you were born?
Oh my God. Now you want to make me start remembering some things. Like
Yeah.
going back to those times, maybe probably I would say I would I wouldn't have preferred to be the first child going back to those years.
Mm,
But one thing
mm.
I've come to realize is that after certain years, after you've grown up, you realize that if you hadn't gone through some of those rigorous training and disciplines and all, probably you might not be as best as you are this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks as though you went through some disciplines. Tell me.
Oh my,
Um.
oh, they used to say, they say first kids are always the tester. You get it? You
Yes.
know, it's the beginning of parenting. So a lot of
Mm.
things. Come on, don't let us start mentioning it. Maybe more
Mentioning the
talk.
things that yes,
Yeah.
the things that you went through growing up there. I want to also understand. So when you were born, between yourself and the boy after you, how many years?
Oh, that's actually challenging. Let's just say a year and 8 months.
A year and 8 months. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we need to add your dad to this call. A year and eight
let's
months.
let's let's just let's
And
just do let's just do 2 years. And that was,
two
should I tell
years.
you one drama that actually happened while growing up, while we're still
Now
young.
tell me. Tell
My
me.
brother would literally beat me and tell me, if
Hey.
God asks you to go first again next time, you will only say, let my brother go first.
Why was that the
Have you
case?
ever been in that kind of situation? Oh
Uh,
my.
but I
You
think
tell
for
you,
me,
as
between
a
myself and
man,
my
I
second
should go
born,
first.
between myself and my younger brother is about 5 years. So they don't born and where. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I'm
I
his
know,
elder
right?
brother.
I know, right?
But
I know.
but if we were to, yeah, but your relationship, it looks as though, because some people, between the first and the second born, the years are always a lot, and it felt as though yours wasn't exactly the case. So let's let's break it down. Did you How many birthdays of yours did you celebrate with a cake? With cake?
Uh, okay. I celebrated the
Okay.
fifth,
Mm-hmm.
and my 10th. Those were just the ones I know I could remember. And then when I grew up, and I know people started celebrating, bringing cakes and all of those things. But then I
Yeah.
still remember celebrating about three tangible
Oh,
birthdays. Yes, before, while growing up.
oh, nice, nice. And your upbringing, your parents, how did they raise you in terms of spiritually and other parts? Your selection of your
Oh,
school, how did they raise you? Your parents.
I would actually say it is one of those things, those few things that helped shape my individual person, like my personality. Like,
Hmm.
because my parents are pastors, actually they are pastors. So that
Hmm.
early morning devotion, after
Hmm.
devotion, you are, because you, as you can, as you've known, I know the previous speaker with the guest, previous guest would have also said the same thing. Like, the first child,
Hmm.
especially if you're a female child, trust me, you will
Yeah.
become the second mother of the house. No
Yeah.
doubt
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that. No doubt. After devotion, you have to wake your siblings up, probably help mommy in the kitchen. You have to wake up almost the same time your mom is waking up. Most times I do that while I was growing up.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
privilege
So.
other people were enjoying, the other kids were enjoying. Sometimes I was just like, oh my word, are you sure this is my mom? Are you sure this is my dad? Oh, I was just like, oh, what is going on? What exactly? Can I change my family? Can I go to a different parent? I was just like,
Hmm.
but then when I grew up and I've come to realize, I actually realized that my family is one of the best. Because that younger brother we're talking about now, he's one of my best friends now. Someone I would not make decisions without talking to.
Oh wow, that's
That's
really
the
cool.
relationship now. That's one thing I came to see and realize, because the difference, if there had been a long gap between us, probably we wouldn't have this kind of smooth relationship. I understand that growing up was quite challenging because of the age gap and those. I don't know if so many people understand Yoruba. Yoruba people, they will always fight for, you will not call me brother and you will not call me auntie. My brother he never called me sister or anything until they stood him up in Sunday school while we were growing up. I think SS3 or so. He was so embarrassed. The Sunday school teacher was like, brother, promise you have to start calling Sister Joy sister. I was like, oh. But then, trust me, he grew up to be a fine man, and
Hmm.
we now have a very, very strong relationship, and we'll look at those days and just say, oh, promise to be like, did I actually do that? Did
Yes, you look at
I?
those days and. Mhm.
Yes, we just laugh out, and then the bond now, I would just say the bond now is stronger than those kids that have so much gap between them.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think I like that one. I like the fact that you both have grown to find people, and it's reflected. You're reflecting on how you're engaging at the moment. Now, I'm very, very, very particular about you and to know what happened, because I can imagine that when you were born, your parents they showed you so much love, so much attention. They give you attention as much as possible that you needed at the time. and because you're the first child, we have pampered you in ways that others may not have enjoyed. But then immediately your brother was born, did you notice any
You know
shift in affection?
that pampering did not last for long, my brother. That pampering did not last for long. The way other kids enjoy.
Hmm. Tell
Yes.
me more.
Of
More.
course, now you know when you have your first kid and then you stay like years apart before having another kid, the love and everything will always go to the first child alone. But then talk about
Hmm.
the child who got a sibling when she's barely two. Trust me, you should know the
Hmm.
attention will be on that second child and all. So,
Hmm.
but then I'll say that at some point I realized that if we're saying oh some things are not good, some things are not good, there are good things out of it because it taught me
Hmm.
independency. Like these
Hmm.
days, like I've grown to become someone all of my siblings can actually lean onto.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
y-
Okay, cool.
yes.
And that's we're getting there now. So you kind of admitted to the fact that attention moved from you to your younger brother, and
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
they would often feed him first before they give you your own meal. They give itself a split first and all of that there.
Of
And
course, of course.
yes, now when you got to the third, when you had the third girl, the third child, which was a girl, did you see less of the affection from your parents now?
Um, I didn't. My parents weren't actually biased in how they relate, because even after growing up, I got to realize that oh, these parents were actually training me at that time. But I still remain my father's favorite. He will always say it. He will always still
Hmm.
say it, no matter the distance and all. Because at the point, my dad used to be like, he comes home only on weekends. You get those people
Okay.
who work
Okay.
far away. Yes, we used to stay at Ibadan. So
Hmm.
my dad comes from Lagos. He's a pastor posted to a church at the time.
Hmm.
So he comes home every weekend after the service, comes say hello to everyone, will still play with me. So my father never made me feel that gap. You get it?
Hmm.
Whenever
Mm-hmm.
he comes around, he treats all of us alike and all. But then while growing up, I had to take responsibilities for my younger siblings, like taking care of them. Like the second born, while she had the my sister, the third born, I had to take care of my brother, though he's just teeny weeny younger than me, like a little bit younger than me. I still had to take responsibility for him at the
Hmm.
time. Yes, we had to do a lot of things together, even while growing up. Even to primary, I remember I started cooking as much as far back as maybe primary three, primary two, primary three. I think around that age. That's when I entered kitchen. I remember then I would do my mom would say that's where she would grow. She would become strong in the kitchen, blah blah blah, and all of those things. I was just so many experiments, so many odd stuff falling on my legs, so many bonds and all. I was just like, oh my word, can I go to a different family? But then when daddy comes back in the weekend, he will just like, ah, sorry, I understand this is a lot of you, but then you'll be fine. That is one thing.
Hmm.
Yes. But the love never, I understand that my mom became overwhelmed. She had to take care of her sister, and then we are there. We had to take care of ourselves, and then she had no one around her because her husband was far away. You understand why the responsibility of the mother moved to me quite fast. You understand now?
Yes, yes, yes. And
Because
I
I've
believe
had to
that
help
all
her
of
because I was the
yes,
only one available at the time.
hmm that's important. And I hear you already. I can tell that you have enough experience to be able to take care of your kids when you give birth to them because of all you've gone through from way
Yeah.
back. And the idea is what we have realized, or what I've realized is that the more the kids, the more the children after the firstborn, it's almost like the less the attention that the firstborn gets, the less affection
Yes.
most likely that the firstborn gets. And whether we like it or not, most people go through this phase differently. And the thing I
Yes.
want us to even then speak about is, let's talk about the fact that would you have would you have preferred not to have been taking care of your siblings that early? Would you have preferred to be taken care of longer than you were? Although now you are grateful to God, anyway, you're glad. But if you look back, would you have been grateful if you did not take up that responsibility early enough?
Mm, I'll say taking up the responsibilities of my younger one actually made me realize that as the first child, a lot of them look up to you. You have to take responsibility. It actually taught me about taking responsibility for my younger one, for my kids as well.
Mm,
If you start learning that at a tender age, trust me, you won't treat your kids any lesser. You treat them even better
okay.
than that. If you could go to that length to do for your siblings, to take responsibilities, take care of your siblings, trust me, you treat your kids better than that because you had the experience quite early. So that's my take about that. I will still
Mm,
prefer to
mm,
come the first child, take responsibility. Some will just say, why not prefer to be pampered? Fine. While mommy was busy taking care of the other kids and we are doing it together, daddy is still in one corner whenever he comes at the weekend during the weekend to still give me the love I want.
mm. Okay.
Yes, you
Okay.
understand now.
Yeah, I think I like that. I like that.
So there is a
Something from
balance.
what you
Yes.
said. Yes, yeah, I like that there's a balance to that. But have you not
Yes. Yes.
grown? Have you grown? You said it made you quite independent, very, very young. But has that affected you in any way so far, so good?
That level of being independent, I'm actually still struggling with it because I've come to realize that you as a lady, it pays a man to be independent
Mm,
than it does to a woman. So that mind of being independent, not giving up and working hard and smart for whatever you want instead of just winning and then waiting for someone to come and sort your bills and do it. So I realized that fine, it's good. My dad said it while I think we had a conversation about it a week or 2 weeks ago. It was like, fine, it's good to be independent, but you need to realize that this stuff, there is a stage to that independence. You have to get married and you have to depend on someone, not because you're not of high value, but because you have to submit. You have to, oh, he can actually pamper me. You have to have this feeling that, oh, this person should take responsibility for me. I should take responsibility for myself. But then it's different. I'm not single anymore. You understand? I'm now a married
mm,
woman. All those kind of mentality. They always say that men find it challenging, quite challenging if you're too independent. You're not showing level of weakness or anything. I don't know.
mm.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, well, because I asked the question intentionally because when independence is great until when it has to be relationship. And even as a man, you cannot all your life want to be independent. When you get married, you want to be able to rely on your wife to make some decisions and make it without your input being the carrying the major.
Independence is a threat to marriage actually and relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And I want us to stay because that for me, that is like the core. Next to that is vulnerability, but I wanted to stay on that independence in a way. When you were younger or before now, who do you tell before you make some moves? You have a friend you tell
Mm,
before you make some moves.
no, I've never been a type that it's when I grew up was when I start saying I have this friend, and those friends actually have. I'm saying, oh, this person is my friend. That person could just be like just a friend from the outside. Oh, but I still love the person. I still say you get, but not that
Hmm.
friend where I have to consult when I have to make decisions. My best friend has always been my dad, my mom, no matter what, no matter how hard that decision is. I remember when I wanted to change my course, while in the university. I got in as a nursing student. I started with nursing, but then I told my mom, this is not my dream. I can't study nursing. I
Hmm.
pleased them. I did whatever I could do. The first year, the second year I went to my HOD, I told him my call is not nursing. I can't go for. That's why you see me. I have lots of nurses as friends because those ones graduated as nurses. I told them I
Mm,
can't study nursing. I want to be a mechanical engineer. I want to study mechanical engineering. The man told me, you have to study hard. You have to get first class. Like this, your grade has to be like 5 points before you can move to another course. And I struggled. I did all I could. I made sure that I transferred. But before I did that, I told mommy, if you just want me to get the certificate and give it to you,
mm,
I'll do it and give it to you. But I would not be happy. I would love to get a
mm,
mechanical B engine certificate. And she consented before I could take the decision, before I could take the step to do that.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you find it easy? Because I think one of the things that most people who are independent struggle with is that they don't often find it easy to accept help fast. Do you find it easy to
Yeah.
accept help?
Yeah. This is it. I still have a friend in the UK. At the moment, he will always be like, I know you. You never ask for help. You'll be struggling
Mm,
deep down. You know you're struggling. You know you're finding it difficult to do something, but you would rather do it and solve it on your own than call to me and say, "Oh, I need help in this." Though, if the thing about me actually is, if it's education, I can always seek for help. But the only aspect
mm,
where I never seek for help is finances. Like, go to people. Oh, I need help. I just believe that I'll start bringing myself very
mm,
low if I actually start saying, I need help with this, I need to start this, I'm unable to do this, then I feel very low. You get? So that's
mm,
why I said I can
mm-hmm.
relate. I can actually relate.
You can relate to that. When I say
Yes.
relationship, relating with people in terms of like romantic relationship now, have you
Okay.
seen? So let me ask you first: can you marry a firstborn?
Hmm. Of course not. No,
Why can't you
no.
marry a firstborn?
That's why I'm not marrying a firstborn at the moment. My at least my fiancé is the third child.
Okay, but
Yes,
why
he's
why can't you? But have you dated firstborns before and you didn't like the experience?
hmm, no. I
Okay,
actually dated a
or
last born before and I regretted because everything about him revolved around his parents. He's just like, all those kids that
hmm,
they, yeah, they don't like to stress themselves. They can't even make decisions for themselves. They have to seek opinion of their parent. I was just not ready for those drama. And that was the end.
hmm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying here? So there is the firstborn who is always independent. There is the lastborn who is always dependent, and you
Very,
need to
very
well find that
independent.
fine balance. You need to
Hmm.
you need to find that fine balance so that. And I'm glad that you said you're getting married to somebody. She sent me a video recently of the guy proposing. Really solid stuff there. My friend is getting married very very soon. Congratulations already for that one. Now,
Thank
so
you.
the yeah. Now the thing is in your previous relationships, did you find it quite difficult to listen to the advice of the person? Did you find it difficult to depend on the person for some decisions?
Hmm. Previous relationship, I would say I do not really have much experience. Or I'll rather talk about my present relationship because that's the one I would even count because I can't
Okay.
even yeah, I couldn't even relate with that last born drama. So you get it now. So
Yeah, go on.
my present relationship, I found it quite difficult to be accountable at first. First child, they believe that,
Mm,
oh, this is me. I'm doing this. I know what I'm doing. As long as I'm not doing rubbish,
mm,
you understand what I'm saying? As long
yeah,
as
yeah,
I'm seeing my life, I'll always get it right. You understand now? So, and this guy is a pastor. He will just come say, "Oh, let us do this. Let us fast." You understand? I'll be like, "Oh my word, do I have to start?" He'll be like, "Have you actually studied your Bible today?" I'll be like, "Do I have to report to you?"
um,
I will be like, eventually, when we started our marriage counseling session, I was like, "Oh, so he was actually right all this while."
Mm,
It was actually because dependency, submission is dependency, actually.
yeah.
Yes, and most first kids always find it really difficult to submit. Yeah, they find
Yes.
it difficult to submit. Yeah, I struggled with submission. My relationship is will be third will be 3 years this July. It took me about 2 years to learn submission, like to just be submissive, because I believe that I'm an adult. I know what's
Mm,
right. I know my morals. I live a very upright life. I'm not trying to say I'm upright. You get it now, but I
mm-hmm,
still know the
yeah.
do's and don'ts. I know lines and boundaries not to cross. So I believe I'm good to
Mm,
go. I don't have to report to anyone. But then I realized that no, you have to be submissive.
yeah.
You have to depend. You have to show this vulnerability to some extent. Extent. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the
Yes.
whole.
Yes. You said your dad called you one time to tell you that, see, you've
Yeah.
got
No.
to be independent.
Yes. He said, I love how versatile you are. I love how you work hard. I love how you do not depend on men for money and all of those things. I love how you sort your bills. But it was like, there's still this space of submission to your husband. There's
Mm,
this space where you have the money, but you just say, I do not have, because I want him to. This there's this feeling where you get when your partner does things for you. It's different.
mm,
Come on.
mm.
Yes, it's different.
Uh-uh. Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's very, very true. And now, away from independence, let's talk about vulnerability. That's something else that most husbands struggle with because all their lives they've been the ones telling their siblings sorry,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
now they don't even know how to open up. Have you ever
Yes.
struggled with vulnerability,
I
or did
struggled.
you ever struggle with vulnerability?
I really struggled with that for years. Come on. I couldn't even cry in front of people because I feel like I'm going to, I don't know what word to use. I would rather cry myself to tears, like to sleep in my
Mm,
room when nobody's watching, than to be vulnerable in front of people. I would rather sit down, lock myself in the room, and when I'm done crying, when I'm fine, even when I had issues with my service and all, at that time I was depressed. Nobody knew I was depressed because I'll always still come out, I'll smile like nothing ever happened. Like nothing ever. That should be like about 4 years ago. Yes, about 4 years ago, when things weren't even looking nice, when when things weren't just looking good. Come on, I don't want to be emotional right now. I couldn't still call my parents to say, "Oh, daddy, I don't have money." I would rather prefer to turn it to fast, 3 days fasting, marathon, no food. Come on, I don't want to remember. I don't want to start
yeah,
remembering
yes,
those days. Come on. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And as while you were speaking, I remember the circumstance how we met, the circumstance of our meeting, and I
I
could
remember.
really tell
I would even love to share that because I met you at that very point in time where I was just like, God, whatever you just want to do, just do. Because I left home. Do you want to know this feeling
that.
of leaving home as a lady? I left
Mm,
home to stay in my auntie's place to
mm,
say, I'm not going to come back to this house until I actually make it, until my story is changed and better.
mm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned to have a mentor. You also mentioned that people they shouldn't lose themselves because they're firstborns. And I want to thank you so much, and Joy Damilola Iyanda, for being on the podcast today and sharing so unreservedly. Same word I used for the last guest because she also shared so much when we had a conversation. Thank you very much, and do have a wonderful day. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Really appreciate
All
it.
right.
I'm so honored to
All
be
right.
here. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. If you're listening to the podcast, thank you for listening. I appreciate your presence here. And I'll do well to listen to the one before this. We have Victoria Matthew on the last podcast. So make sure you check out that. So much was said, so much was dished out. And I'll see you on the next podcast with my guest. She's aware already. She's also ready to share unreservedly when it's time. Okay.